Hi everyone, this is Erin from Sandpaper Road, and in this video we're going to turn an ordinary aluminum bottle, beverage bottle, or same technique can be used for an ordinary pickle jar into a beautiful, beautiful work of art. So we're going to get started right away, and what I have here is just ordinary pickle jar with the label off and an ordinary beverage aluminum bottle. This is really lightweight, and I've got Liquitex super heavy gesso, and I've got Art Basics 3D matte gel. It doesn't have to be these brands. These are just what I had on hand. And we're gonna get started with the gesso, and it's really super thick. I actually like this brand too of the gesso, but I only had it in black on hand. Look at that. Look, it's so it's like pasty, you know, it almost looks like caulk. And we're just going to cover the whole bottle in this gesso. And once this is coated and then fully dry, which does not take long, then we will move on to the next step. And I'm going to try to keep the video moving as fast as possible. I welcome all the new subscribers to Sandpaper Road. Thank you so much for subscribing, but I certainly don't want to chase you all away where every single video is like an hour, hour and a half. You know, sometimes you just want a basic idea. So I'll try to keep it short and sweet. There. Now this is coat number 1. When it fully dries, we'll be able to see if we need another coat. I think we might be good with this, only because we're gonna probably put another coat later, you know, again. So, and some people don't even start with I've seen other people who do mixed media art and they don't even start with the coat of gesso. They just go right into the hardware step. But I like a coat of gesso first. Ooh. And we can clean up all that. Now the same is true also for this jar. You would do the exact same thing if you were doing a glass jar or an aluminum bottle. So we will let that dry. I'll cover this jar as well the same exact way. And then we will come back and continue. Okay, we're ready for our next step. We have done a coat of gesso with the heavy gesso on each of our jar and our beverage bottle. It looks like it probably needs another coat, but I'm not going to spend time doing that right now because I know I'm going to gesso it later as well. Instead, I'm going to use this time to find a big stencil and some sort of texture paste that we're going to push through the stencil. I find that big stencils work a lot better. This is a buttercream stencil. I don't even know that they make these anymore from Joann's. But any big stencil would work just fine. Because when you're using a bottle, then I don't have to tape it. I could just hold it, position this around, and pinch it just like this. And that way I can hold the bottle and the stencil. And the same thing works true with the jar as well. So this is what I'm actually gonna use on camera for you. Well, I'll use this and then I'll use a homemade texture paste. Just quick to show you, this is a Bow Bunny glitter paste. It's a sugar glitter paste. They have different ones, gold, color, silver, whatever. And I've tried this a bunch of different times. Oops. This I really like the results of just personally for the look I'm going for. But I did try, you could use a modeling paste. This is by Liquitex. I like this too. It's really thick. It's like caulk or spackle or something. Super thick. Look at that. Super thick. So you could use that. It just depends on the look you're going for. I also tried my hand at making a glitter paste with Liquitex super heavy gel and also the Art Basics 3D matte gel and some glitter that I had, which actually didn't work too badly. I mean, I think it would be okay. It's just that I needed more glitter than I actually had. Also, I made a texture paste with Johnson's, well, you could use any baby powder you wanted. Baby powder, 1/4 cup, and then a tablespoon of matte acrylic paint in white, and then a tablespoon of school glue. And I got this nice texture paste and I use it pretty often. and you can water it down and even use it as a gesso in an emergency. So I'll use this, I'll tell you what, I'll use this first and then I'll use that other one. And let me sit down here. And I'm just gonna give you a hint of how to do it. I'm not gonna do the whole thing. And then we'll move on and I'll show you some finished results. We're gonna try our hand at some swap outs like a cooking show. Let me get a little closer, how's that? And I'm just spreading it with a palette knife. I don't think a brush would quite do it. So if you have like some sort of a palette knife or something, and again, this is just my homemade texture paste that I just made. Maybe you have those same ingredients on hand. It's pretty handy. It's also nice if you not sure you want to get into mixed media, you can kind of try your hand at it and see, am I really going to use texture paste in my life? And you can try it and see, and after a while you might be like, oh yeah, I will use texture paste, and then you could invest maybe in some better quality stuff over time. Look at that, see, nice and quick. And that's the homemade stuff. Okay, I guess I'll leave it like that, but I really wasn't trying to have it tip. Now before I do this, I did learn that holding the jar open and trying to scoop it out and holding the jar to stencil was a lot. So I want to show you the sugar paste here. It's really nice. I mean, I like it a lot. So I just took a big chunk of it first. And then, and again, this is just for demo's sake. Now, because this is bigger, see how the stencil doesn't reach all the way around the jar? Then I kind of have to work a little harder to hold it. And I'll go over the same area, but I don't have to. I could go over here. Can you see that? A little bit better? Okay, and that's pretty much it. I really like this sugar paste. It's nice. It's much thinner than a texture paste, but the results are way different. It's not so cementy. Oh, by the way, to take this out, I kind of try to do it carefully. I put my hand inside the jar and then I just do a little bit slow. You know, I mean, I'm not in that big of a hurry. Now this doesn't that look nice? Now here's how it looks when it's dry. This is just the sugar paste by itself. Look at that. I don't know, can you see that? Let me see if I can get it to hit the light good. Maybe like that, huh? Look, that's super nice. Now again, we are going to add more gesso to it, but still you can get the idea. Nice, huh? This is, let's see what, this is the sugar paste, so I'll put it by the sugar paste one. Okay. This was I really thought I was doing something here. This is the one that's dry with the texture paste, but then I thought I would be all cool and try to sprinkle glitter on top of it. And that looks pretty, I think, except one shake and the glitter comes off, so I don't know. You could try to mix some glitter in with that. And then this, I tried to mix some glitter in with some matte gel, and I mixed the glitter in. And this actually isn't too bad. I just didn't have enough glitter to make it the look I wanted. So once you get your pattern with your paste, then and get it all the way around your jar or bottle, then we'll move on to the next step. We're ready for the next step, which is the fun part. It's gluing on the little pieces to the bottle. And the bottle's dry, and we've got this set aside. And I'm gonna share with you a couple things you're really gonna need. You are gonna need a gel product. It needs to be a heavy gel. There's just really no substitute. There's really no making your own. You're really gonna need it. You could get away with hot glue if you don't have these products on hand, just to give yourself a try and see if you like mixed media. But eventually that hot glue is gonna fall off, or your products are gonna fall off. Speaking of hot glue, these are just silicone molds that I picked up at a craft store, and you can use hot glue to create shapes. Look at that. It's just, you just squirt the hot glue in there, pop it out, and you have a shape, and that would work fine. Oh, and here's one from this one too. It's a hot glue shape. Okay, so we'll use those maybe. This is actually from my advanced tape glider. This is the, see the roll in there? This is what's left over, so we could use that. This is hardware from the garage. That's right. These are beads, and if you've been scrapbooking for a while, it is no doubt that you have, oops, let me move this, that you have something like this maybe with buttons and pieces. And this is junk jewelry that I got literally when the Kmart near me was closing. Sometimes I pop the stick part off of them, the earring part, and use the charm. You could do that. These are scrapbook grade bottle caps and so on. And oh, I love just doing this with a thing of buttons. Oh my goodness. I do want to show you something. If you're using buttons like this that have a piece on them, you will need a pair of wire cutters. And if you just go over the trash can, and I won't do it right now, but what you can do is hold it this way and push the button down. See how it is? And then you just snap and it comes right off, and then it'll come right off in the trash, and then you'll have a flat piece. Okay, so for time's sake, I chose some pieces ahead of time and put them in this razor container, and we've got some beads, and I'm going to use this favorite gel of mine, and to hold my bottle in place, I'm using my marker storage. I totally needed yet another excuse to buy more chocolate anything, so these are perfect for storing my markers, and I store them horizontally, then in a basket that sits upright on my table. But this is great to hold your bottle in place so that it doesn't move around while we're making our project. And because this gel, it dries pretty quick. I mean, you won't need to sit it overnight or anything. So I put some out on my craft table because then I can keep the lid closed and my products won't dry out. So, and all we're doing is, you could do this however you want. There are no rules. The only thing I'm going to encourage you is to not look at color and look at shape. So I'm going to turn this. You could turn it and work on the side that has the design. I'm actually going to turn it and work on the side that doesn't. And I'm going to start with maybe this frame. This frame might look cute. And I just take, this is just a craft stick, popsicle stick thing. I have a brush on standby, and I'm taking some of the gel and putting it right like that and trying not to touch it too much. This is a washer from something. I have no idea what. And it's random, but it's not. If that makes sense. It probably doesn't. In other words, I'm not following a guide of any kind. And I'm trying to work fast for you, but also for me too, because I know you probably don't want to sit all day and watch me glue pieces. And that's essentially all it is. That is literally all it is. Now, if you don't want it on your hands, of course you could use tweezers. I'm not always so coordinated with my tweezers. And you just glue them however you want. Now, if you have beads, this is another neat trick. I have this thing of beads, and while your pile is there, you can maybe sprinkle some beads like that. Or if you have a piece of broken jewelry, I had a necklace once. I loved it so much. And it totally broke. And oh my gosh, it went everywhere. And I know you can fix things, but I'm not a jewelry fixer maker person. And so you could do this instead, save your beads. And because all of this is going to dry transparent and you'll only see the texture left. Arrange them however you want. I might even pick this up and just continue to work with this just like that. Gluing that like that. Okay? And you just keep doing it literally however you want. I'm doing so many because I'm actually making wedding centerpieces. So That's why we've got a bunch going at the same time. And this one is, it's just pieces, but you can kind of see how the gel is drying and the beads are sticking, and drying is still in present tense because it's not all the way dry yet. Okay, so the heavy gel is all dry and these pieces are nice and dry, and you can see that because it was transparent gel, these little beads in little pieces just look like they're just stuck perfectly just right on there. Now it looks a little crazy with all the random colors and metal pieces and stuff, so this is where we're going to gesso again. I said that earlier. So what I did was I took some more of this heavy gesso and put it in just an old razor container, and we're going to cover all this color, all this metal with this gesso, all of it, just right over top. And you can be pretty generous. I'm using just a regular paintbrush, and if some of your little beads kind of come loose, don't worry about that. This little guy looks like he's not going to stay. But I can also try to use some of the gesso as a little bit of a backup adhesive. And you just get in all the little grooves and cover all that up with the gesso just like that. Here, let me come a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. And the other thing I do too is I turn it upside down, and you can really see to get like underneath and to get in all the cracks. See that? Like up there, like I would have missed that if I wouldn't have turned it upside down. And to get back here, so that no matter which angle you look at the bottle, or if you're doing a jar, no matter which angle you look at, you'll be able to see just pure white. And you do that for the whole thing. Okay, see how nice that's gonna look? You're covering that up. Now you don't have to go super, super, super heavy with it. And also while you're at it, since you've got this gesso out again, now take a second look at your bottle and see, did you miss anything? You can go back over and touch up any spots. That's why I said I wasn't too interested in doing 2 coats, because I knew I was going to be gessoing later. And you can go back through, and even if you did some glitter or like a glitter paste or something to get it, you could still touch back up. Okay? And after you get this whole thing covered, I mean, you cover every single thing, everything. Don't leave anything open. And spend a really good detail time on it too. Getting into all those little nooks and crannies. And take your time. And when you're done, you'll have it all covered, all nice and white. And remember, this is the one with the frame. Remember in this bow tie piece and the star we put on? And then this was the jar we did with all these pieces. Okay, all covered. And the gesso will dry really nice and quick. And this is the time, again, you can go, this was the sugar paste, and I just went back over with a little bit of gesso. Not trying to take away from the glitter or shimmer, but just trying to cover up just a bit. Give it some, oh no, this was the one with the sugar paste. This one, I could tell the difference right away. And this is, remember that frame? That little hot glue frame? So you've got a whole white base, and that's what you're going for. And interestingly, we started with this bottle, and we've got a lot of interesting pieces so far. So finish this up, the one that you're working on, and then we'll come right back in a second. So the gesso is all the way dry, and it's got a real nice surface. And this is that one with the frame. Remember, this was that hot glue frame. And so we're going to add some color, but what we're going to try to do is add it behind here in places. And the best thing that works like that or for this purpose is powder pigments, I find. I've done this a couple different ways, and I find that gives me the best results. So I have a few. These are Magicals from Lindy's gang, Lindy's Stamp Gang. And this is Starburst in spray. When you get sprays from Lindy's, LindyStampGang.com, when you get the sprays, they actually come not liquid. They come like this, and there's powder inside, the pigment powder inside, and then you're supposed to add the water. But I like to leave it just as the powder anyway, sometimes. This one I did on purpose. And then I have Tweedledee Denim in Magicals and Blingy Blonde. And that's because the wedding colors I'm working with are navy blue and orange, but some fall colors too. Now I do also have for accents, I have the Art Alchemy Opal Magic Wax. Sorry about that. Opal Magic Wax, the Art Alchemy from Prima Marketing. And this is turquoise satin. It's just what I had on hand. I've got a few gelatos. And if you've never seen gelatos before, they're pigment sticks. Ooh, this one looks a little rough. I'll still use it. It's fine. But they're, it's like a chapstick. It looks and feels like a chapstick, but it's a pigment stick. And then I've got this Deco Art Metallic Luster in Orange Flicker. And this is just like a wax. And then I just had some metallic acrylic paint from Folk Art. I don't know how I'm going to use this one, but what I have here is a dry brush. I'm going to start with the powder and just give you an idea of what I've been doing, and then you can do it to suit your needs. Now, actually, to be honest, I'm going to say that if I was, I mean, just knowing that it's for a wedding, the way this looks with the shimmer and the white, and imagine putting it on a centerpiece with flowers coming out of the top. That looks fine, really, the way it is. You could probably just touch up. As a matter of fact, let me just show you this first. I'm going to show you this product first. Okay, this Opal Magic Wax. Because once we get other things going on to it, it's got a nice little shimmer, and you can just rub your finger on it like this. And let's just go over some of the tip tops of some of these. I'll also do this after, and you can't really see a whole lot. I'm not sure if the camera is picking up, but it leaves just a nice glimmer shimmer. And the reason why it's called Opal Magic, I sure don't know if you can see that, is because if you did this on black, it would look totally different. As a matter of fact, I have a piece of black cardstock, and I'll just show you just quick. Look, if I did it on, oops, if I did the same exact thing on black, it would look totally different. So, see that? That's on black. And on white, it doesn't look like you can see it too much, but it's there. And so then I'm going to take this dry paintbrush, and this, I use this little palette here and put some of the powder in it. And I'm just taking some of the powder on the dry brush and literally just reaching into the holes like this and dropping some of the powder in like that. I'm sure there's other powders out there. Maybe you've seen some online, or if you go to stamp shows, or if you've been following, you know, some people on YouTube or Pinterest, that kind of thing. Okay, so this is just, I'm just showing you just a sample, okay, of how this works, and then I'll show you one that's finished. So that's how I put the powder in it. See how you can barely see that? This is why they call them magicals. Let me move this powder out of the way. And then you take just regular water, and when you spray it, look at that, magically the color appears. Neat, huh? Yeah, that's pretty neat. So then you tip the bottle, and you can have a towel on hand just to dab where you don't want it. And just tip it and watch it run. Okay. Now, and that's that. Now when I'll heat set it, okay, but look at that. Look how you can see that. Now I didn't add any extra color. It's all in the magical. Isn't that neat? I just love that. So then what we would do is heat set that. It even leaks some over here. But actually, even if you, oops, I'm sorry, even if you just left it right there, then when it dries, you can go back in. If you didn't like it there, you could go back in with a baby wipe, and you could just get off some of the excess there. Okay, you could spray more water if you wanted it to run a little bit more down the side. You could add a little bit more powder if you wanted it. See, I still got some on my brush. I didn't even go back in with my brush to this stuff. And you just kind of play with it until you get it to look like what you want. Definitely heat set that at the end, but look at that. Isn't that lovely? And I know you may not be able to see real good on camera the wax, but the same thing could be true if we did, you know, the paint, or if we just dipped our finger in this. This is that orange. It's like a wax. Let's say we did it over top of this. Well, I think we already did that. You know, you could go over here. You could put the wax. Oh, that might be a good idea. Okay. I think I have too much on my hands though. Just a little bit off. You know, just real lightly over like that to give some interest. Maybe there's some on the baby wipe. Okay, and then we've got a little bit of color right there too. Just, I mean, if it's a wedding, we don't want to overdo it, right? So that's a start, but that's essentially all we're going to do. And let me show you a couple that I've done further. Whoops. Okay, this one I did, and I added some of the navy blue. Not sure, again, this is a work in progress. Not sure how I feel about the blue on that bow. I might gesso over that because it's just, I don't know how I feel about it. But all the way around looks pretty good. I really like this up here. And I mean, I suppose I don't mind the bow, and I'd have to see it, I guess, with the flowers. But I think overall it doesn't look too bad. And then this one too, I love this one. So I'm happy with that. This I went in the same way. I went in with the navy blue powder, the same exact way. And then I thought it was a little too strong, so I went back with some gesso. And when you go back with the gesso, where's my brush at? Here. All you're doing is you just take, I'll show you on this one because it's dry. You just go back and just right over top, like, oh, that's too much right there. And you just go back over top with some gesso. Because at first it was a primer. Now it's more kind of like whiteout, you know? So until you get the look you want. And that's essentially it. Isn't it interesting? We went from this to this in just a few short steps. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and remember that you can do the same thing with the same technique on a bottle or on a glass jar, pickle jar. And this one I haven't started with the powders yet, but I thank you so much for watching, and thanks for hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to check out Sandpaper Road on Pinterest and Instagram and Facebook. And now you can check out sandpaperroad.com for more details on my blog. So thanks so much, and we'll see you soon. Okay, bye-bye.